Good evening and welcome back to my channel. This is my third installment of my Christmas themed recipes. I'm making some more biscuits this evening. I'm making crunchies and I'm making shortbread. Now there are some secrets to making biscuits. And well, there's one, use butter. And if it says use brown sugar, use brown sugar. And if it says use caster sugar, use caster sugar. When I say butter, I use butter, I don't use margarine, especially with your crunchies and even more so with the shortbread. If you make your shortbread with margarine, the texture will be wrong and so will the taste. So let's get going immediately. We're going to start with the crunchies and then move on to the shortbread. So we're going to start by preheating the oven to 180 degrees Celsius, and then we're going to put our butter on the stove to start melting. And while the butter is melting, sift together the flour, sift the flour and add the coconut and the oats. Now you don't want to use jungle oats. You want to go and find rolled oats, whole rolled oats. Jungle oats work, but they don't give your crunchies much texture. So you'll find that at a baking shop. So you'll see, if you look in here, they look different. They are whole oats. They are, with jungle oats, they're all broken. Okay, so we're going to melt the butter on the stove. Once the butter is melted, we're going to add the golden syrup and the brown sugar to the butter. And we're going to let this heat up together until it starts bubbling. Okay, so I've been doing this over medium-high heat and I've been stirring it all the time because it wants to burn. As soon as it starts bubbling, you want to add the bicarbonate of soda and just keep stirring. Once the bicarbonate of soda has been mixed in, remove the pot from the heat and then add that mixture to the flour, coconut and oats that you can see I've just mixed up a little bit. And I'm just going to mix it with a spoon slightly. It needs to be mixed with a hand, but it's too warm at the moment. So I'm going to mix it with a spoon slightly, and then when it's slightly colder, I'll put in my hand just to make sure that everything is combined well. And once it's all mixed, we're going to put them into the pans. Now what I have here is I have two biscuit pans. They each are about 1 centimeter deep, which is as high as I want my crunchies to be. And I'm going to use the back of a metal spoon to just put my crunchies into these pans. At a thickness of about 1 centimeter. Now you can see I'm using baking paper. You don't have to use baking paper, but I use baking paper for everything just because it never sticks. Sometimes you can do something wrong and things may stick. With baking paper, it never sticks. I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Please don't use wax paper. This is not lunch wrap. This is actual baking paper. Lunch wrap is something else. So you can see that my tray is all lumpy. And I'm going to have to attend to that because you want the top of it to be flat. Otherwise, you're going to have crunchies that aren't flat. So I thought there was more mixture than there was. This is what's left. So I have had to improvise. So I'm using my bread pan and I'm going to make the rest of the crunchies in my bread pan. If you allow the mixture to get too cold while you are doing this, it becomes impossible to work with. So I'm going to place this into my preheated oven. I'm going to let it bake at 180 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. Then I'm going to turn down the heat to 160 and let it bake for another 10. So in this bowl I have the butter and I'm going to start by creaming it with a wooden spoon. And creaming is basically just pushing it around. Oh, your butter has to be soft. It has to be softened butter. But creaming is basically pushing it around until it starts resembling the texture of cream. And then while I'm creaming it, I'm going to gradually add caster sugar. Now, please don't use usual sugar, then your shortbread won't work. It has to be caster sugar. Once you've creamed all the sugar into the butter, what I've done here is I've sifted the flour, the corn flour, and the salt together. And I'm going to add that into this bit by bit, and I'll stir it first, and when I can't stir, I'm going to take it out onto the counter and I'm going to knead it. So this is not going to allow me to stir it for much longer. So I'm just going to incorporate as much of it as I can with a spoon, and then I'm going to knead it. Now, you don't need to do this on the counter. You can keep on doing it in the bowl. It's just preference. And you want to do this until it's completely smooth. And that's the dough finished. I've taken out a few dishes and I'm just going to put some baking paper in them. And I'm going to put some mixture in them. I don't know how many I'm going to use, so we'll see. But basically, I'm going to press the mixture down until it's about 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters thick, depending on my required thickness. And once you have it to the required thickness, then I'm going to mark out where I'm going to cut them. Ooh, the crunchies are done. And let's continue here. And then we're going to prick them with a fork. And then I'm going to prepare my next one. So I'm going to take this, and I think that these two together should be enough. And then once I've done the same with the rest of the mixture, I'm going to put it in the oven for 30 to 40 minutes. I'm going to make sure it doesn't get too brown because they are shortbread. And then they'll be ready. So if you've ever read a crunchy recipe, they always say wait till the crunchies are cold before you cut them. I'm going to disagree with them. If you wait till the crunchies are cold before you cut them, they crumble so much that half the biscuit ends up on this baking tray. So they've been out for maybe 5 minutes, and I'm going to cut them while they are still piping hot. Okay, and then you can actually, if you are careful, take them out immediately and put them on the cooling rack. And let them harden like that. So the shortbread has been in the oven for 40 minutes and I'm just about to take it out. So what I need to do now is, while it is hot, I need to cut it. If you wait till it's cold to cut it, then it just crumbles while you cut it. So on the lines, I'm just going to cut the shortbread. And I'm going to leave them in here to cool. And just before I remove them, once they are completely cold, I'm going to sprinkle them with caster sugar and then I'll put them into storage. So that's it. The butter shortbread and the crunchies are finished. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. If you enjoyed the recipe, please like it. If you enjoyed the other recipes, please subscribe to my channel. If you do subscribe to my channel, please remember to hit the notifications button or you won't be told when there are any new recipes. So have a good evening and I will see you soon.